Hello, this is Hilary Robertson. Welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. On this episode, I'm joined by sax player Sam Braysher. Sam's new album, Dance Little Lady, Dance Little Man, sees him accompanied by a genuinely world-class rhythm section. And they play some songs from the Great American Songbook and jazz standards. This is a great album and almost feels like a Pizza Express set. Sam is an East London sax player and his trio is very well respected, and the musicians play with everybody in London, or they have been. Sam and the other members of his trio are regulars on the London jazz circuit, and it'll be great to be able to get out and hear them again. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi, Sam. Welcome to Harmonious World.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Brilliant. And congratulations on this album, Dance Little Lady, Dance Little Man.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's a great piece of work. First of all, why that title?
It's actually a lyric from one of the tunes on the album. It's "Shall We Dance," which is by George Gershwin, with lyrics by his brother Ira, and it's from the film. It's a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers film called "Shall We Dance," and that song is in it. And towards the end, one of the lyrics is "You'd better dance, little lady, dance, little man, dance wherever you can, or whenever you can." I think. That's where that comes from.
Oh, brilliant! And that's actually interesting because that's one of my favourite tracks on this album.
Oh, thanks.
It's great. I actually started this podcast with a clip from "Shall We Dance" because it's such a beautiful track and I love your arrangement.
Thank you. Yeah, that was sort of vaguely inspired by there's a Thelonious Monk arrangement of "Just You, Just Me," where the melody kind of has gaps in it naturally, just with the way the words sort of sit, and then there's kind of an answering bass line kind of in response to that. So yeah, that kind of was sort of vaguely inspired by sort of conceptually, but by that Thelonious Monk arrangement. But yeah, thanks. There's some great Jorge Rossi drum trades on that. He's it's good.
Yeah, he's a great drummer, isn't he?
He's fantastic. Yeah, it's a real treat to get to play with him. It's a real honor. He's obviously best known for playing. Did quite a long stint with Brad Meldau's trio. And he's someone who I've listened to for a long time on record. So it's fantastic to get to play with him.
Yeah, and then you've got Tom Farmer on bass.
Yes, Tom is brilliant. He's a brilliant accompanist. He's from a bit close to the home, but still someone that I've looked up to for quite a long time. He was. I studied at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London, and so did he. But he's a few years older than me, so I think he finished just before I started. So when I kind of arrived in London, was enjoying going out and seeing lots of gigs. He was very much really on the scene and doing lots of gigs with different bands. So he's someone I've been listening to for a long time. He's just a great accompanist, very versatile, plays in lots of different settings, very broad.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really like about this album is that it's got some proper, jazz standards. And then you've got the original. Now, how do you pronounce that? Pinchos.
I believe it's Pinchos.
Oh,
that's a Basque country thing in Spain. Not that I'm any sort of expert on that, but I think that's how you pronounce it, Pinchos. There's no huge significance to it. I was actually in Bilbao when I came up with the idea for the bass line. So that's why it's called that. And Pinchos is the food that they're sort of famous for. Is they have this kind of like bar food and sticks. It's kind of like I'm probably not really doing it justice there, but it's sort of little mini sandwiches on sticks and stuff like that. So that's what Pinchos is. Yeah, that tune is based on the chord sequence to Cole Porter's "From This Moment On." It's kind of a new melody over that chord sequence.
Right. Okay. And now talk to me about what you do with Heart and Soul.
Right. Yeah. So Heart and Soul is it's an interesting tune. I think if you say Hoagie Carmichael's Heart and Soul to people, they probably don't know what you're talking about. But when they hear it, they'll hopefully recognize it. It's because it's weirdly become quite familiar as a sort of piano duet, or like a kind of beginner piano piece, very familiar chord sequence, which hopefully people will know when they hear it. I quite like the idea of playing tunes like that aren't necessarily played by jazz musicians that much, but which are kind of familiar to people and tunes that people might recognize. This Nearly Was Mine is another one on the album that is not sort of played as a standard loads, but people might know it from South Pacific. But anyway, Heart and Soul. So it kind of starts off with this quite simple repeating figure, and then we just improvise with it really. And the bridge, the middle section of the tune, is less familiar. You don't really hear that so often, but it's a really kind of interesting part of the composition, I think. So just enjoyed improvising over that and trying to sort of make something fresh with it, really.
Yeah, and it's nice. And I think, as you say, you do some Rodgers and Hammerstein and you do some Gershwin, and these are standards, but they're not often played standards, the ones that you do. You're not doing Summertime.
Yeah, that part of the whole process of, if preparing for a recording or for a gig, just kind of trying to look a bit deeper and trying to find some really interesting material to interpret, I suppose, or arrange. And because I just think that the American Songbook is just an amazing resource, and if you look carefully, it's still really possible to find kind of interesting or lesser known tunes to play. So I just really enjoy that process. And
yeah no, it's good. And
thanks.
Talk about the process of, so this was recorded in May 2019.
Yeah.
So it's taken quite a long time to actually see the light of day.
It has taken a while, yeah. It always seems to, you kind of forget how much sort of non-musical stuff there is to sort out. It was supposed to come out in September last year, but then sort of various label things, sort of COVID related things, ended up getting delayed. But it's finally here. It's been quite good to have something like that to focus on, just sort of sorting out all that stuff during the pandemic. Obviously, there haven't been any gigs really, so it's taken a while, but we got there.
Yeah. And so is the intention now to tour with it?
I hope so. Yeah, there've been so many unknowns, haven't there, in terms of what's being able to plan stuff. But I really hope so. Yeah, we were supposed to tour in September when the album's supposed to come out, and then that mostly got cancelled because of the pandemic. We did actually get to go to Switzerland. Tom couldn't make it, sadly, but I got to play with Jorge in Switzerland, in Basel, for a couple of nights, so that was really lovely. And then I hope that we'll be able to do some more stuff, certainly as a trio. I've actually got an album launch, sort of a belated album launch date at the Pizza Express on the 1st of August. Jorge can't make it, sadly, but Jason Brown is going to play drums instead, a great American drummer who's over here at the moment. And Nikki Isles is going to join us as a sort of special guest in the second set, just to sort of mix things up a bit. Certainly hope to be touring more with us soon. No, not too many concrete plans beyond that, but we'll probably do some UK gigs with Tom and a UK-based drummer, and then hopefully at some point we'll get to play with Jorge again. Yeah,
and I mean, at the moment, venues are just starting to put together plans, aren't they? They're starting to feel like the confidence. I noticed the 606 Club is starting to book people again, and I think increasingly Pizza Express will. The last gig I went to actually was at the Pheasant Tree in Kings Road, because that's a lovely
Chelsea,
venue. Yeah,
I love that. I saw Barry Harris play there, which is great. It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have plans for the future? Do you have new material?
I probably need to get a move on, because that's the one of the things it's really become clear, and having done two albums, it all takes longer than you think, and I should probably aim to have a bit less of a gap between this album and the next one. I'd like to do something else soon. I'm not entirely sure exactly what, but I've did a couple of gigs of Leonard Bernstein and Kurt Weill songs. I thought that they make quite a nice combo. They're both sort of two composers who slightly straddled the worlds of classical music and also the American songbook. So they're very, very, very interesting characters. So might maybe try and record an album of that stuff, but all quite vague plans at the moment. But
right,
yeah.
Some people may not have heard of you, and so where did you come from? How did you get into playing the saxophone, and how did you get into playing jazz?
I grew up in Norfolk, in the east of England. Yeah, I started playing the recorder when I was 6 or 7, and for some reason was really desperate to play the saxophone. So I started that when I was 11. I suppose as a saxophone player, you naturally end up playing slightly jazzier repertoire, and I really enjoyed improvising and playing by ear, even though I hadn't, wasn't necessarily sort of, it was mostly quite traditional sort of classical music, playing from written music. But yeah, enjoyed improvising, and then was lucky to have a jazz piano teacher called Jonathan Dodd, who lived nearby. So that was a real route into listening to jazz, and he gave me some of my first gigs. So I was kind of lucky in that respect, because obviously there's not huge amounts of jazz going on in rural Norfolk otherwise. So and then when I was 18, I moved to London to study at Guildhall School of Music and Drama, which I had a really good time, met lots of great people, and since then just been kind of freelancing, doing gigs. Did an album. My first album came out in 2017. It's a duo recording with a great New York-based piano player called Michael Kanan, who's fantastic. He plays with Jane Monheit, the singer, and various other people. So that was kind of my first foray into like making a record and sort of touring a bit under my own name. And also he was very influential on me in terms of, I suppose, looking a bit deeper into the American songbook and stuff. He's a real expert on that stuff. He accompanies singers a lot, so he has a kind of encyclopedic knowledge of Gershwin tunes and all the other guys, that sort of stuff. So and he's very into kind of looking at all that stuff in a very detailed way and checking out the original sheet music and things like that. So yeah, he was very influential upon me in terms of my just approach to that kind of material.
Right. Yeah, because there are some obvious Gershwin and Great American Songbook tracks that have been played over and over, but you've definitely found some that are more interesting, less well known, but still beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I was saying about just kind of trying to look a little bit deeper, kind of perhaps really enjoy kind of investigating the work of a particular composer and trying to find some less well-known ones. I mean, obviously the famous tunes are famous for a reason, and there's a reason why All the Things You Are or Body and Soul have been recorded thousands of times, and obviously they're amazing tunes as well. But I've kind of always quite sort of enjoy that process of just trying to find something a little bit more obscure perhaps, or less well-known.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation I had with Sam, and thank you for joining me once more for Harmonious World. I'm going to finish with a clip from The Sweetest Sounds. Please do contact me on social media. Let me know what you think of Harmonious World, and I look forward to joining you again soon. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.